Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon,
Good
sir.
afternoon. Okay, today we discuss biofeedback. Right? In the last class, we had discussed EMG, right? Electromyography. And today's topic is biofeedback. Clear? So, what is biofeedback? What is the use of biofeedback? Where we use biofeedback? Where we discuss, right? So, what is biofeedback? Basically, biofeedback is a technique to reveal to human beings some of their internal physiological events, normal or abnormal, in the form of visual and auditory signals in order to teach them to manipulate these otherwise involuntary or unfelt events by manipulating the displayed signals. Right? So this is biofeedback. What is this? In this, basically we record the activities of human beings or human body parts, right? And by the visual and auditory signals, we can manipulate these movements, right? Or these physiological events. Clear? So biofeedback is a technique to reveal human beings some of their internal physiological events. Basically, in this, we work on the physiological events, right? Normal or abnormal in the form of visual and auditory signals in order to teach them to manipulate. We can manipulate the movements, right? And these otherwise involuntary or unfelt events by manipulating the displayed signals, right? So by manipulating the movements or manipulating the functions, we can improve the functions. Clear? So this is biofeedback. So biofeedback can be used to inform the patient about physiological events like blood pressure, skin temperature, heart rate, and other things like force, joint displacement, so that by seeing these, the patient is able to control these activities in order to understand biofeedback. Right? So for this biofeedback, we use a device that is known as biofeedback device. Right? So in biofeedback device, information about body functioning comes in a form of signals. Right? When we perform any movement or any function that goes in the biofeedback device, that can be displayed in the form of signals. It may be visual signal or it may be audio signal. Right? After that, we can manipulate the movements, so signals will be changed accordingly. Right? So favorable changes occurs via some pathways, and we can improve the body functions. Clear? So biofeedback is used in case of motor learning. Motor learning program, we can use biofeedback. So the motor learning can be facilitated by improving the motor performance. Clear? And this is the main aim of biofeedback in physiotherapy. So motor learning, motor improvement is the main aim of biofeedback. Motor
Sir,
learning can be facilitated.
excuse me, sir.
Akanksha, yes.
सर विजुअल फीडबैक मीन्स पल्स रेट वगैरह यही ना.
विजुअल फीडबैक आपका जैसे कंप्यूटर है, राइट, उसके फॉर्म में, ग्राफिकल फॉर्म में आपको दिखाई देंगे कि कैसे परफॉर्मेंस हो रहा है। सपोज
हाँ
अभी हैंड ग्रिप है, राइट, सो
हाँ हाँ।
फ्लेक्शन कर रहे हैं, ये फ्लेक्शन हो रहा है, राइट,
यस सर, यस सर।
फ्लेक्शन हो रहा है, राइट। तो ये आपको एक ग्राफिकल फॉर्म में दिखाई देगा इन अ स्क्रीन।
लाइक इन मॉनिटर सर विच वी यूज टू पल्स जो कनेक्ट कर दी जाती है हैंड में, और वो
राइट
मॉनिटर
राइट,
पूरा
जो
लगा
भी
होता
मॉनिटर
है।
आप यूज कर रहे हैं तो उस पर डिस्प्ले होगा इन अ फॉर्म ऑफ ग्राफ।
सर ऑर्डर और क्या, और क्या बताया था?
ऑडियो में आपका जो
हाँ।
सिग्नल्स है वो आपको कंप्यूटर जो है वो आपको रिस्पॉन्ड करेगा कि दिस मूवमेंट इज गुड और नॉट गुड, राइट। तो वो बोलेंगे मीन्स अगर आप फंक्शन नहीं कर रहे हैं, सपोज आपने फ्रैक्शन कंप्लीट नहीं किया, राइट,
यस सर।
तो मॉनिटर है वो आपको इंस्ट्रक्शन देंगे कि दिस मूवमेंट इज नॉट गुड, राइट,
यस सर।
पेशेंट विल ट्राई टू डू इट बेटर।
भैया बंद ना करो यार।
आप बेटर वे में
ओके सर।
करोगे तो अगेन जो आपका मॉनिटर है वो कहेगा इट्स अ गुड, गुड।
सर सोनोग्राफी कैन बी एग्जांपल ऑफ ऑडियो। सोनोग्राफी जो है वो एग्जांपल हो सकती है ऑडियो का, जो हम
नहीं,
लोग
सोनोग्राफी
सुन।
इसमें नहीं है, सोनोग्राफी इज अ डिफरेंट थिंग, ये बायोफीडबैक है।
ओके सर, थैंक यू।
जो भी आप मूवमेंट परफॉर्म करेंगे तो एक ग्राफिकल
यस सर।
फॉर्म में और ऑडियो सिग्नल फॉर्म में आपको सुनाई देगा। अगर आप प्रॉपर्ली परफॉर्म करते हैं तो आपको एक फीडबैक मिलेगा, दैट इज गुड।
ओके सर।
So motor
यस सर,
learning
थैंक
can
यू।
be facilitated by improving motor performance, right? So this is the main aim of biofeedback in physiotherapy. Means we have to improve the motor performance. We have to improve the motor function. So motor learning includes a behavioral positive reinforcement or reward which helps the patient to improve motor behavior. By using biofeedback, we can improve motor behavior, right? So this is given in a form of visual feedback stimulus or verbal information, right? So therapist comment can also be used, and the therapist uses these signals to improve motor function or motor behavior, right? So when we perform a movement, these signals will be cast by the monitor or biofeedback device, and that will come in the form of graph and audio signals, right? So accordingly, we can improve the motor function or motor movement. So basically, biofeedback is used for motor learning program, right? For example, in case of hemiplasia, when the patient is not performing this hand function proper, right? Leg movement proper, gait is disturbed in case of hemiplasia. In that case, biofeedback is very beneficial. Clear? So if a sensitive skin thermometer is applied to the skin of the finger, and most people are able to make a small alteration of skin temperature at will, right? So this may take a little time and some practice, but can be done provided the subject can see the thermometer reading and thus has immediate information of any change in the skin temperature. This is called feedback, right? So what is feedback? Suppose मैंने आपकी एक क्लास लिया, लेक्चर लिया किसी भी टॉपिक पर, राइट, और उसका एक टेस्ट ले लिया गया, ठीक है। अगर आपने परफॉर्मेंस अच्छा किया है इट्स अ गुड फीडबैक, राइट। परफॉर्मेंस अच्छा नहीं है दैट्स अ नेगेटिव फीडबैक। वन इज पॉजिटिव फीडबैक, वन इज नेगेटिव फीडबैक, राइट। तो अगर आपने मूवमेंट परफॉर्म अच्छे से नहीं किया है तो जो सिग्नल्स हैं, जो आपके ग्राफ हैं, वो आपके दूसरे फॉर्म में होंगे, राइट। आपको मोटिवेट करेंगे कि इससे अच्छा आप परफॉर्म करें। आप बेटर वे में परफॉर्म करते हैं तो वो सिग्नल्स और ग्राफ्स जो हैं आपके अच्छे फॉर्म में होंगे, राइट। सो दिस इज कॉल्ड फीडबैक। क्लियर? In this, we have taken the example of thermometer. The skin thermometer is applied to the skin of the finger. Fingers के बीच में हमने thermometer यूज किया हुआ है, राइट। तो उसका जो आपने टेम्परेचर लिया है वो रिकॉर्डेड है, राइट। इसके बाद आप पेशेंट को बोलो कि आप कंट्रोल करने की कोशिश करो, आप बॉडी को रिलैक्स करो, ठीक है। उसके बाद आप जो टेम्परेचर रीड करेंगे, मॉनिटर करेंगे, दैट इज different, right? That will be different. So this is called feedback, right? So many physiological changes of which people are normally unaware can be made visible or audible in suitable electronic equipments. This has enabled biofeedback control to be practiced for a whole range of activities such as the control of BP, heart rate, skin temperature, etc. Right? Suppose we use mercury sphygmomanometer, right? BP instrument. So first time if you record ना, तो उसकी वैल्यू आ रही है. Second time when you record, वो कितना होगा? That will be different. बिकॉज जब आपने फर्स्ट टाइम लिया, उसको रिकॉर्ड किया, ठीक है, तो उसका एक फीडबैक आपको मिला कि मीन्स अगर ज़्यादा है तो ज़्यादा है बीपी हमारा, उसको कंट्रोल करना है, राइट। तो वो सिग्नल आपके ब्रेन तक जा रहा है, ठीक है, बॉडी को रिलैक्स करना है। जब आप सेकेंड टाइम लोगे तो उससे बेटर आपका बीपी आएगा, राइट। सो दिस इज कॉल्ड फीडबैक। So, contraction and relaxation of voluntary muscle action can be checked by EMG, right? Electromyography. And this effect can also be demonstrated in animals. So, experiments have shown that the heart rate in the rats and dogs can be controlled in some cases by operant conditioning. राइट। सो एनिमल्स में भी हम लोग यूज कर सकते हैं, दैट इज बायोफीडबैक। सो द कॉन्सेप्ट्स कैन बी एक्सप्रेस्ड इन द प्रिंसिपल बाय द फीडबैक। सो फिजियोलॉजिकल चेंज इज डिटेक्टेड और मेजर्ड बाय सम डिवाइस। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, द स्किन टेम्परेचर alters the resistance of thermistor, and the output of this measurement is displayed on a digital indicator, right? So the subject perceives this information about the temperatures and how he or she makes conscious attempts to alter it, to warm or to cool the finger, exactly which neural pathways are involved in this last part of the loop is not understood. But the fact that it is possible to exert some control, right, indicates that such pathways exist. Means voluntarily we can control some movements, or we can improve some movements, or we can control temperature, or we can control blood pressure voluntarily, right? So this is not different in principle from the re-education given by the physiotherapist in providing feedback for the correction of posture on the initiation of a muscle contraction, right? In neurological cases, patient is unable to perform any movement, patient is unable to perform some activity, patient is unable to initiate the movement, right? So for this we can use biofeedback. So all the human movements are controlled by feedback. Information comes from the muscle spindles, joint motion, and position sensors. The vestibular operators, the skin sensors, and the visual cues. Right? So up to signal set that comes from muscle spindles, joint receptors, joint motion, position sensors, vestibular operators, right? Skin sensors and visual cues. So from here we can get the information, right? For example, if the patient is doing the elbow flexion and he gets audio or visual feedback which indicates he is doing incorrectly, right? So if the patient is doing, suppose, this elbow flexion, right, in a incorrect way, right? So he gets a audio or visual feedback that will be in a negative form, right? And when again undesired pattern is seen on visual display, the patient will try to achieve the correct pattern of movement, right? Patient tries himself to perform the movement in a better way, right? When he gets a feedback, negative feedback. So thereby participating in the control of signals and gradually learns the correct pattern, right? So by using feedback, patient tries to improve the movement, right? The patient tries to improve performance. So the process of making aware to the patient about the physiological events by biofeedback device, how the patient becomes conscious to these events, right? So patient's motor behavior or physiological change, and this can be detected by measuring device or biofeedback device, right? Next thing is the following changes are displayed in the form of visual form or audible form by the indicators, and this information is perceived and develops understanding towards the changes, right? Now he has conscious control over the motor behavior and process continues. The patient tries to improve the movement, right? So this is biofeedback, right? Again, in biofeedback device, we use a monitor, electrodes, right? Amplifiers, all these, like EMG, right? So in monitor, we get a visual form of graph, we can get audio signals, right? Amplifiers are there. So through the feedback, we can improve the movement of the patient, right? Next thing is, what are the uses of biofeedback? So the use of biofeedback is classified for two broad criteria. Why we use biofeedback? One is to improve control over the defective muscle or defective movement, right? The second one is for the control of stress related conditions. We can use biofeedback, right? So to reduce stress, we can also use biofeedback, right? So one is to improve the function, to improve the control over the defective muscle or defective movement, And the another one is for the control of stress related conditions. By using this, we can reduce the stress, right? Next thing is how biofeedback works for the control of muscle activity and movement. The point is EMG biofeedback is used to control of muscle activity. For example, when all the muscle fibers in a motor unit contract to produce a motor unit action potential, right? This leads to generation of electrical signals when we place the surface or needle electrodes amplified by the amplifier and displayed on the oscilloscope by the amplifier, and the displayed on the oscilloscope screen by the chart recorder, right? So as in EMG we use a monitor, we use electrodes to record the signals when the muscle contracts, right? This goes in processor phase. In processor phase, amplifiers amplify the signals, right? Then it goes in an output phase. And it comes in a form of visual signals or audio signals, right? So when the muscle fibers contracts, they produce a potential, they produce a signal, that is motor unit action potential, right? And this signal will be recorded by the electrodes, right? Those are placed on the muscles on both the sides. Means on the one end we can place cathode, on the other end we can place anode, right? So we receive the signals by using electrodes. These signals, motor unit action potential, amplifies by the amplifier in the processor phase, right? And it will be displayed on a screen in output phase, right? So by this we can get a feedback. So amplifier signals are represented in terms of amplitude, duration, sound, frequency, and phase, right? So these signals can be checked by amplitude, duration, sound, frequency, and phase, right? Now, on the basis of this data, it is detected whether the movement or the muscle activity is normal or not, right? So by seeing these signals and graphical forms, we can check whether the movement or muscle activity is normal or not. It depends on condition. So thus, re-education is given to improve the muscle activity, right? We re-educate the movement to the patient. Clear? Next thing is EMG biofeedback is used for improving the motor control. For example, the treatment of hemiplasia is done by EMG biofeedback, right? What is hemiplasia? Anyone? What is hemiplasia? It's a neurological condition, hemiplasia. What is this? Aruni,
यस सर
what is hemiplasia?
सर हेमीप्लीजिया में हाफ पोर्शन बॉडी का पैरालाइज हो जाता है
Right, right. Half body paralysis, right? That is hemiplasia, right? If lesion occurs in the brain में डैमेज हो रहा है, right? hemorrhage है, thrombosis है, embolism है. These are the causes of aplasia. Right?
सर स्पाइनल कॉर्ड में भी तो डैमेज हो सकता है ना?
Spinal cord में अगर डैमेज होगा, that will lead to paraplasia or quadriplasia. Depends on level of lesion. Right?
हाँ,
Basically,
ओके.
what is spinal cord? A spinal cord is a right?
हाँ, हाँ,
सर्वाइकल रीजन में कहीं पर भी इंजुरी हो रही है या रीजन हो रहा है, अगर यहाँ पर इंजुरी होती है तो इसके नीचे जो प्लेट
ओके सर.
So if lesion occurs in the cervical region, it will lead to quadriplasia. Quadri means both upper limbs, both lower limbs, and the trunk will be involved. In case of
Yes, sir.
quadriplasia, right? If lesion occurs at the level of below D10, right? So that will lead to paraplasia. Means both lower limbs will be involved and some part of the trunk will be involved. That is known as paraplasia. These are
Yes,
different.
sir.
If lesion occurs in the brain, that will lead to hemiplegia. If lesion occurs in the spinal cord, means cervical region, thoracic region, or lumbar region, lumbosacral, right? Chordite, pointer type. So it depends on level of lesion and extension of injury, right? And mechanism of injury. किस तरीके से चोट लगी है, किस लेवल पे चोट लगी है, और किस एक्सटेंट तक चोट लगी है, कितना पार्ट डैमेज है स्पाइनल कॉर्ड का, राइट? उस पर बेस्ड है कि जो भी आपके क्लिनिकल फीचर्स होंगे. ठीक है?
Yes, sir.
In this case, we are discussing hemiplegia. So if lesion occurs in the brain, that will lead to hemiplegia, half body paralysis. In this, facial involvement may be there. Facial involvement भी हो सकता है, right? Upper limb will be involved, trunk will be involved, right? And lower limbs will be involved. One side. So as the hemiplegic patient has poor dorsiflexors and gait, by means of EMG biofeedback, we can improve the dorsiflexors. Like, what are the dorsiflexors? Dorsiflexors of foot. Name the dorsiflexors. Anyone? फुट में कौन कौन से डॉर्सिफ्लेक्सर्स हैं, कौन कौन सी मसल्स हैं डॉर्सिफ्लेक्सर्स? यस सचिन. सचिन, डॉर्सिफ्लेक्सर्स. यस अरुणी.
Sir, tibialis anterior.
Yes, tibialis anterior is the dorsiflexor, right? So tibialis anterior. So by using EMG biofeedback, we can improve the power of dorsiflexors, right? And we can reduce the spasticity present in the plantar flexors. So what are the plantar flexors? Name the plantar flexors. Anyone? Mansi? Aparna? Plantar flexors. Name the muscles of plantar flexion.
Sir, gastrocnemius and soleus.
Very good. Gastrocnemius and soleus. This one is plantar flexor, right? So by using EMG biofeedback, we can improve the strength of the dorsiflexor, right? And we can reduce the spasticity present in the plantar flexor, right? Next one is, it also helps in reducing and control of spasticity in case of cerebral palsy, right? What is this cerebral palsy? Have you seen cases of cerebral palsy? केसेस देखे हैं आप लोगों ने cerebral palsy?
सर, जो सेरेब्रल एटेक्सिया होता है वही सेरेब्रल पाल्सी होता है क्या?
No, that is different thing. Cerebral ataxia is a different thing. Cerebral ataxia is a kind of symptom only.
सर
Cerebral
सर
ataxia.
सर मसल टोन में और पोस्चर में जो डिसऑर्डर हो जाता है वो होता है क्या?
And these are the symptoms of cerebral palsy. Silent symptoms of cerebral palsy.
एबनॉर्मल ब्रेन डेवलपमेंट की वजह से
Pardon?
एबनॉर्मल ब्रेन डेवलपमेंट की वजह से पोस्चर और मसल टोन इन सब में डिसेबिलिटीज टाइप मतलब जैसे होती है।
Abnormal posture, abnormal tone, abnormal gait, all these are the silent symptoms of cerebral palsy. Right?
यस सर।
So basically, a cerebral palsy is a neuromusculoskeletal disorder below the age of 2 years. If lesion occurs in the brain, right, so it leads to cerebral palsy. Right? It's a non-progressive disorder. It's a non-progressive disorder. Right? So we can categorize class. Right? So biofeedback can be used to improve muscle strength, right? And it also used to reduce spasticity. Next is biofeedback helps in dystonic conditions because the patient suffers from uncontrollable movement or postures. Thus, treatment is given by EMG biofeedback, right? If the patient is having poor posture, right, abnormal gait, in that condition we can also use biofeedback. Next is in case of torticollis. What is torticollis? Anyone? Torticollis. Anyone? Torticollis. What is torticollis? This is also known as wry neck. WRY. Wry neck.
सर इसमें एक साइड में जो नेक होती है वो बेंड हो जाती है।
बैंड हो जाती है। क्यों हो जाती है बैंड?
हाँ
नेक क्यों बैंड हो जाती है? क्यों?
सर मैंने इसमें पिक्चर देखा था, मेरे को इतना ही समझ आया था बस।
ये जो आपकी मसल है, this one is sternocleidomastoid, right?
यस सर।
If there is spasm in sternocleidomastoid, ये क्या होगा? Becomes shortened, right? ये short हो जाएगी. This condition is known as torticollis. In case of spasmodic torticollis, we can use EMG biofeedback, right? So it helps in recover of peripheral nerve injuries. In case of peripheral nerve injuries, we can also use biofeedback, right? Next is EMG biofeedback helps in re-educating the specific muscle activity. So muscle re-education, in that condition, you can also use EMG biofeedback, right? Especially in neurological conditions. Next point is the posture control is also done by EMG biofeedback. So in this, monitor gives warning by the signals which tilts away from the vertical, right? So if the patient is having unbalanced posture, right? So if he tilts one side, right side or left side, the signals comes from the monitor, right? The audio signals comes from the display screen, right? Please erect straight like that. So this monitor commands to the patient, right? So posture control is also done by the EMG biofeedback. Next point is it is also used in the treatment of patient with functional breathing disorders. For example, shallow breathing or hyperventilation. In this condition, we can also use EMG biofeedback. Right? Next point is in case of foot drop, we use biofeedback. Right? Next is pain due to muscle spasm, which is chronic. That condition we can also use biofeedback. Right? So these are the indications of biofeedback. Next is some other points are like in case of Bell's palsy, in case of lower motor neuron lesions, paralytic muscles, immobilization, low back pain, spinal cord lesions, joint repair, Parkinson's disease, Reiter's cramp. In all these conditions, we use EMG biofeedback. Right? So these are the indications where we should use EMG biofeedback. Right? Next thing is when the muscles contract or relax, the information produced can be transmitted through the electrodes on the skin, recorded and displayed usually as a pen tracing, and this is known as EMG. So we can record the signals by using electrodes. So the record can also be feedback to the person undergoing EMG as a turn with changes in pitch, tension and relaxation of muscle. This technique has been used in biofeedback in a number of conditions. So the position and support of the patient must be carefully chosen for this treatment. So position of the patient is important, right? If the patient is having poor balance, so we can give support to the patient. So proper positioning is very important, right? Proper posture should be. So position and support of the patient must be carefully chosen for this treatment. So if relaxation is to be attempted, then the whole body must be fully supported, lying or half lying, so that all the postural muscles must be relaxed. It means the patient should be in a relaxed position while doing this EMG biofeedback. So in the EMG biofeedback, there is a voltmeter with a speaker and a motor attached, an EMG instrument to detect electrical signals. If there is a potential difference between the two poles, right? So now it is duty of the feedback instrument to condition the positive and negative impulses. So the quality of the machines and therefore its output is chiefly indicated by its input impedance. Right? And the point is CMRR, that is common mode rejection ratio, frequency response, noise level, and ability to cope with non-EMG artifacts. Right. So the mechanism is almost same as we use in EMG. This is also known as EMG biofeedback. As a rule, EMG instruments should have at least 1000 times as much as input impedance as that measured between the two active electrodes. So the electrode size also alters the effective resistance given by the amplifier. Right? So greater resistance is assessed with the needle electrodes as they contain small surface areas. Larger electrodes have lower resistance. Right? So as with input impedance, higher is better. So common mode rejection ratios should be at least 2 lakhs is to 1. Frequency response, in general, a frequency response of 32 to 500 Hz is adequate for surface kinesiological EMG feedback. Right? By using this CMRR, we can check the unwanted noises. Right? So noise levels in high quality components is 2 millivolt or less, because in general, lower the noise, the better the thing. The same artifacts are also there in EMG biofeedback, volume conduction, and movement. So in the treatment session, no matter what the diagnosis, biofeedback technique and the treatment approach is similar. What is the approach? Select a muscle whose EMG signal is relevant to a muscle activity. Have the patients practice controlling the signal. Withdraw the feedback as function is gained. Right? So this is application of EMG biofeedback. How we use EMG biofeedback. Right? Now we take a break. After 5 minutes we will come back. Right? So in so many conditions we use biofeedback, right? Especially in case of neuromuscular disorders, peripheral nerve injuries, spasmodic torticollis, right? In stroke patients, we can use, if the patient is having postural imbalance, there we can use biofeedback. In case of cerebral palsy, we can use biofeedback. In case of foot drop, we can use biofeedback. In case of chronic pain, we can use biofeedback. So many conditions are there where we can use biofeedback. In case of Bell's palsy, that is related to facial nerve palsy, right? Lower motor neuron lesions, paralytic conditions, low back pain, spinal cord lesions, Parkinson's disease, in all these conditions, we can use or we can improve motor performance by using biofeedback, right? Next, we discuss in stress-related conditions. We can also use biofeedback to reduce stress. So usually the stress-related condition requires relaxation. So biofeedback technique is very helpful in providing the means and motivation for practicing the relaxation. So nowadays, such type of instruments have been introduced for measuring stress and teaching relaxation. Right? So it is used in stress-related conditions like essential hypertension, cardiac arrhythmia, Raynaud's disease, migraine, tension headache, epilepsy, and so on. Right? In all these conditions, we use EMG biofeedback. First, we discuss essential hypertension. So studies and experiments have shown that if the blood pressure of the patient is monitored and displayed, the patient can learn how to control blood pressure. Right? So by practicing, he can control up to 35 mm of mercury. Right? In case of hypertension, we can also use EMG biofeedback to reduce blood pressure. Right? In cardiac arrhythmia, we can also use EMG biofeedback. So similarly, the heart rate is monitored and displayed to the patient by biofeedback. He learns to control by slowing the heart rate. Simultaneously, the patient can control blood pressure also. Right? So cardiac arrhythmia can be controlled by using EMG biofeedback. Right? In case of migraine, it can be controlled by the EMG biofeedback. Attack of migraine is caused by the dilatation of blood vessels over the surface of the brain. Right? This is the main cause of migraine. So as the vessel wall stretches, they trigger pain-sensitive receptors. So pain is severe and unilateral. In early stages, it is throbbing type, but later on, it becomes constant. So the biofeedback in the treatment of migraine has involved attempts to increase peripheral blood flow usually to hands and fingers. Right? So in case of migraine, you can also use EMG biofeedback. Next condition is tension headache, in that we can also use biofeedback. It is believed that the tension in the occipitofrontalis and postural neck muscles is the cause of this tension headache, right? So this causes chronic pain and muscle tension at the other sides. So the relaxation of these muscles with biofeedback displays that the EMG of these muscles is done, right? In case of tension headache, we can use biofeedback. Next one is epilepsy. In that case, we can also use EMG biofeedback. By using biofeedback, we can reduce the frequency of epileptic fits by producing a special rhythm in an electroencephalogram, that is a sensory motor rhythm, right? So we can reduce the frequency of fits by using EMG biofeedback, right? So relaxation training combined with the biofeedback has been found to be the most successful treatment. So in stress-related condition, we use biofeedback, right? Next point is muscle strengthening devices have electronic displays which indicates the strength and power developed. So in case of gait training, the amount of weight taken to one foot can be monitored with pressure sensitive pads in the shoes, right? So in case of partial weight bearing training, there is a sound when the patient takes sufficient weight and the sensitivity of the device can be decreased as he or she improves, right? So nowadays, for the myoelectric artificial limb or control of the limb is done by the EMG biofeedback. So all these we can do in a gait lab. There is a gait lab in that we can check all these things by using EMG biofeedback, right? Next point is when using biofeedback, the patient must understand the electronic signal to the desired functional task, right? Practice controlling the biofeedback signals means the patient must practice controlling the signals. Patient must perform the functional task until it is mastered and the patient no longer needs biofeedback, right? So biofeedback is simply one technique that the physiotherapist may employ to help convey his message about motor programmers and biomechanical scheme to the patient, right? So biofeedback, EMG biofeedback plays a very good role in rehabilitation or in case of muscle re-education. So biofeedback assists the rehabilitation process by it provides clear goal to the patient, right, which the patient has to achieve. So by the feedback, patient knows his goal, right? And it helps the therapist and the patient to perform various processes to achieve the goal. Next is reinforcement for getting appropriate behavior, right? Next is providing a process which gives a orientation, time and accurate knowledge of results of the patient's effort, right? Next is both the therapist and the patient must therefore understand the meaning of the feedback signals, right? So biofeedback plays a very good role in a patient's rehabilitation. Next is there are no specific criteria for the duration of the treatment with the biofeedback devices. So, however, favorable results are likely to occur with the use of the biofeedback devices for 10 to 30 minutes per day, right? So there is no specific criteria for the duration, but we can use it for 10 to 30 minutes per day, right? Next we discuss advantages. What are the advantages of biofeedback? Biofeedback provides corrective information to the patient immediately, right? And the patient gets involved actively in his own treatment. This is very important. So biofeedback may not require sophisticated understanding of the skill by the patients, and the biofeedback device can be used during ongoing activities. So it may save physiotherapist time, right? So this is the advantage of biofeedback. One is it gives a correct information immediately, right? And the patient participates actively in his own treatment, right? These are the major advantages of EMG biofeedback. Next, disadvantages. What are the disadvantages of EMG biofeedback? Biofeedback treats symptoms, not the underlying cause of symptoms, right? So biofeedback training or treatment is uneconomical as all these devices are not available commercially at all the places. This is the main disadvantages of the biofeedback. So biofeedback devices are unacceptable to the patient who won't like to put wires and electronic boxes over their body, right? So some patients don't want all these electrodes and wires. So sometimes physiotherapists may need special training for the use of biofeedback. Biofeedback would be just a form of training rather than treatment, right? So this is the disadvantages of EMG biofeedback. So in short, we can say biofeedback is the process of furnishing an individual with information about body functioning so as to get some voluntary control over it. This information regarding body functioning can be given to the individual via visual or auditory signal through a suitable instrument, right? So various forms of biofeedback include myoelectric feedback, postural biofeedback, feedback goniometers, pressure or force biofeedback, orofacial control devices, toilet training devices, stress-related related devices, cardiovascular biofeedback, etc. So these are the various forms of biofeedback we use in different conditions, right? So these biofeedback devices provide corrective information to the patient immediately. So there are no specific criteria for the duration of the treatment with biofeedback devices. Right? So this is all about biofeedback, EMG biofeedback. So in this topic, we had discussed indications of biofeedback, EMG biofeedback, mechanism of EMG biofeedback, right? Application of EMG biofeedback, uses of biofeedback, right? Advantages and disadvantages of biofeedback. Now, if you want to ask anything, you can ask. पूछना चाहते हैं पूछ सकते हैं आप. Anyone? Sachin, Priyanka, Aruni, Mansi, Aparna. कुछ पूछना चाहते हैं आप लोग? EMG biofeedback. The basic disadvantage of this machine is it is not available everywhere. Right? This is the main disadvantage of EMG biofeedback. ये सब जगह अवेलेबल नहीं है, कहीं कहीं पर अवेलेबल है. वहाँ पर आप देख सकते हैं, सीख सकते हैं, समझ सकते हैं कि कैसे वर्क करते हैं. ठीक है. बेसिकली इसमें भी हम लोग मॉनिटर यूज कर रहे हैं, इलेक्ट्रोड्स यूज कर रहे हैं. ठीक है. विजुअल फॉर्म्स में सिग्नल्स को देख रहे हैं, कैच कर रहे हैं, ऑडिटरी फॉर्म में कैच कर रहे हैं, एम्पलीफायर्स यूज होते हैं. फिनोमेना इज सेम एज एन EMG, राइट? बट वो आपको दिख रहा है, एक फीडबैक दे रहा है और इमीडिएटली दे रहा है. Right? This is feedback, biofeedback. So accordingly, you can modify your movement, right? So that you can get a better result. This is the basic use of EMG biofeedback, right? पूछना चाहते हैं आप लोग? Okay, so this is all about EMG and biofeedback. In next class, we will discuss some another chapter or new topic, right? और कौन से टॉपिक है जो नहीं हुए अभी, तो बता सकते हैं? आरुनी, अभी कोई टॉपिक है ऐसा जो नहीं हुआ है, आपके सिलेबस में है और अभी हुआ नहीं है?
सर नेक्स्ट क्लास में देख के बता दें आपको.
यस, आप मैसेज कर देना, राइट?
हाँ
मैसेज कर दीजिए.
ओके सर.
जो भी टॉपिक्स अभी नहीं हुए आप मैसेज कर दो, उसमें से कोई भी टॉपिक हम लोग ले लेंगे. ठीक है?
ओके सर. ओके, थैंक यू सर.
एट होम. ओके, बाय.